autoimmune diseases. Now, in a way, we could even say the rhinitis or the hay fever is kind of an autoimmune disease, but not really. An autoimmune disease is literally, typically to a deeper level, and an ongoing issue. So this is a disorder where the immune system produces antibodies to antigens, and therefore tissue is damaged by collateral damage to a degree. But really what it does is that the immune system gets out of hand. So the easiest example that I like to say for autoimmune diseases is the immune system is trying to take over the body in a coup attempt. So it's just like an army that might take over a government because they don't like the government's policy in a coup attempt. It's kind of like the immune system is doing a coup attempt on the body, aka the Rambles have got out and the rabble-rousing in there, kicking up a stink, and it can affect collateral damage on innocent tissue. There's a huge list of autoimmune diseases, lupus being one, rheumatoid arthritis being another one, Hashimoto's disease, myasthenia gravis, diabetes, vitiligo, but this is a very small list compared to all there is. There's many. And so chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, I'd also put in that category, and some include multiple sclerosis in that. So the whole idea of multiple sclerosis is not completely being worked out. We're pretty much seeing that the liberation therapy that people are using is and there are definitely people who had there's people it doesn't work on, more people it's a temporary fix, and there's a few people it's long term. So again, when you're doing liberation therapy, doing the balloon in the venous system here, it's giving you a balance in your checkbook again. You still have to work on the underlying cause, and since it's really kind of hard to figure out what the underlying cause is, it's hard to know what to do. And so a lot of people think it's an autoimmune response on the myelin sheath. In my case, I think it's partly a phenomena of disconnection, aka might be even the calcification and fluoridation of the pineal gland. Now the reason I'm bringing it up here, not that I want to do a whole thing on MS, the reason I'm bringing it up here is for the obvious reason that it is kind of the epitome of what autoimmune disease is in the first place. So let's forget about the immune system for a second. Let's go look at a little country that has a coup attempt. Literally in a coup attempt, sometimes what's happened is the executive branch of the government has lost touch with the people in their society. And or the military has become a megalomaniac and they want to become the executive branch. The point is, it's an ego conflict between the executive branch of the government and the military typically, and sometimes the people in the society are the collateral damage, but sometimes they're fanning the overall body, and because they're being rejected. So sometimes the government will marginalize all the people and put them virtually into slavery where they're living a high style. Now, what does that have to do with autoimmune diseases? I'm suggesting that various forms of stress will cause it. In this case, the executive branch is the central nervous system, mostly the head. Is that mind, brain, whatever. So an awful lot of people who live in their head marginalize the rest of their body and marginalize their diet and their social situations with stress will actually lose touch with who they are, and that seems to be triggered around the pineal gland and a whole bunch of other things. That somehow, if they have a strong immune system at the same time and they're sensitive at the same time, they will actually have their immune system overtake their body. Where it actually ends up is that chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, or whatever, vitiligo, comes down to the weaker part of the body at that point in time, or it could be because just a local inflammation that got out of hand, and then the coup attempt's easier to do there. Does that make sense what I just said? So Autoimmune diseases are quite complex on the surface, but just like we talked with some of the other things, if we take a giant step backwards and look at it as a metaphor, sometimes we can have a much better way to fix it. This is quite the opposite of how modern medicine works on it, and therefore they have no cure for it. I'm not suggesting that we have a cure for it, but we do have an application for it. So the medical approach is to give non-steroidal inflammatory things like or corticosteroids, whatever the case may be, to try to shut down the local inflammation. And they keep on increasing the doses and sometimes increasing the chances of iatrogenic or doctor-caused diseases.